Web application security has become increasingly important, especially after web application attacks ranked as the most common reason for breaches, as reported in the Verizon Data Breach Investigations report. Not only are WAFs a critical component of web application security, but they do provide the ability to customize the security rules for each application. WAF security can prevent many attacks, and those include cross-site scripting, SQL injection, cookie poisoning, unvalidated input, and Layer 7 DOS, and many others. With 98% of all the breaches originated from misconfigured firewalls, my colleague Young is now going to show you how to set up the Cloud WAF in AWS and how to set up the load balancing in the Keysight Threat Simulator to make sure you can test the effectiveness of your WAF. This is the first video of a two-part series.
Hello everyone, my name is Yong Zhao, Solution Architect for Keysight Security Solution Group. Today I'm going to demonstrate to you how to use Keysight Threat Simulator to verify the effectiveness of the AWS WAF deployment. So let's get started. Okay, what I'm going to go is I'm going to switch to AWS CloudFormation to deploy my agent, also automatically set up the AWS web application firewall. All right, this is my AWS. I click the create stack option, and I've already have a deployment CloudFormation JSON format ready to go. So if I choose that, and then I can go ahead and deploy it. I'll give a name, say this is Keysight WAF Lab. And then I have a lot of information pre-built in, so I'm going to stick with that. And then I'll keep next, acknowledge the IAM resources used. Now you can see my deployment of Threat Simulator agent behind the AWS WAF is ongoing. So we'll come back in a few minutes. It will be all done. Now you can see that the Keysight WAF Lab stack is created completely. Now let's go to the EC2 and take a look at what has been created. If I go to the EC2 instances, and you can see that I have successfully created the student TS WAF agent. If I go to the details, you can see that this is the instant information with the public IP, which is the elastic IP, and also the private IP. If you look at it, this is the private IP of 10.0.0.201, which is being deployed in the WAF agent subnet. If I switch to my threat simulator screen, and you can see that this agent after the CloudFormation is automatically discovered by my threat simulator. So if I click the agent here, and you can see all the informations which is matching private IP and then the public IP matching the elastic IPs. All right. Now switching back to the AWS EC2, what I want to give you an overview is how to apply the AWS WAF services, web application firewall services, especially the web ACL rules. So the first thing you need to provision through my CloudFormation is the load balancer. So on the AWS, you need to create this TSALB, which is application load balancer. And then in the load balancer, you need to configure its the listeners. In this case, I'm listening to 443, which is HTTPS. And then I'm uploading or using one of the self-signed certificate for because it's a WAF function, it will do the SSL inspection of the content, so it needs a certificate to do this sort of man-in-the-middle proxy mode. And also it has a rule which is point to the target group, which let's take a look. So the target group is called TS agent. Again, for every target group, you will see we have a target. This is a target 10.0.0.201. If you remember, this is my WAF TS agent IP address, IPs. And also, we are doing some house check. If you can see, this is we're using HTTPS for house check. Going back to the rule set of the TS agent, you will see what is it. So basically, everything sent it to this 443 listeners will be forwarded to the TS agent. If you have a WAF deployment, which is protecting multiple web page, website, so you can create a much more complicated or complex rule set to manage that for what we call the multi-site setup. So you can do that as well. And then with the integrated service of the associated with the server load balancer or application load balancer, this is the AWS WAF ACL rules. As you can see, this is the newer version of what AWS called the WAF version 2. And you can see right now I have the rule set of AWS managed rule set, SQL injection, common rule set, and another AWS managed rule set of what's called the common rule set. Total, you can see there's 900 different rules in those rule set. Now switching back to the AWS load balancer, one key information we need to have is DNS name of this ALB or server load balancer. So let me copy this and get back to the our threat simulator. Let's put the agent behind the server load balancer, and this is an important step to do because all our later on assessment is evaluate or assess the effectiveness of the AWS WAF rule. So we have to put the agent behind the server load balancer. In order to do that, I'm going to go to the agent page and click the settings. So the first thing we need to do is put in the FQDN, which is the DNS of the AWS SLB or ALB. And the hostname page, I'm going to put in WAF agent. Again, this hostname is very, very important if you have a multiple site behind the server load balancer or AWS WAF, that each of the agent will have its unique hostname be defined here. And then we switch the protocol to HTTPS and then put the 443 at the port and check the enable and save the configuration. So now you can see the load balancer is enabled. If we go back to the topology and we do a quick service scan through the agent, just trying to make sure that we have the proper service ports open for this agent so that we can jump into the next step, which is create a assessment for the WAF rules.